Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams, and we're back with another one of our 24/7 news report videos. Um, we start we start with a bit of news before we get into the headline, and that like news basically is that Frank Lampard has been sacked. The club announced it about 10 minutes ago at the time of recording, which is 25 past 8. So at about 8:15, the club announced it, which is really poor, bear in mind. I think Peter O'Rourke was the first one to announce it this morning. Then a couple of the other journalists announced it after him. But really, they could have just done this at 9 o'clock this morning because everybody knew that this was happening. Just do it at 9 o'clock and move on. My thoughts on him being sacked, I think it's deserved. Listen, people will say it's not his fault and all this, and he's a nice guy and all this. The way I see it is not everything is down to him. The club is obviously has really bad rooted problems. Um, but it's a bit like having him was a bit like you're drowning and then somebody shoots you in the leg as well. Like you might be going and might be rotting already, but having an ill-equipped manager for the job isn't going to help. It's just going to make you sink sooner. And I think he deserves a sack. Jamie Carragher said it on Sky. He said, when you're brought in to replace somebody and you have the same bad form and record, if not worse than them, aka Rafa Benitez, then it's expected, and it is expected. And he did get players as well. People will say, he did get players. 8 people came through the door. This squad isn't world beating, but I don't believe the narrative that it belongs where it is. It's a better squad than what's been put out. And depending on if the right appointment's made, we will see that. Because I don't think other than Dan Juma, anyone else joins us because we're in the middle of this chaos. And we will see if the right choice is made, which is a big if, how much of a difference it makes to have a proper manager. Not saying we'll get top 4 or anything stupid like that, but we will see differences on performances, hopefully. But yeah, might be a nice guy, but way out of his depth. I'm not saying he's never going to be a good manager. I think he needed to learn the trade a little bit more before coming here. He really did have a good backroom staff, and they couldn't save him. This job's hard. It needs an experienced head. I don't think it's um, I don't think it's sort of a coincidence that the only men to get a good tune in the last 6 years, I think it's been going on, have been Sam Allardyce, who the football was dire, but the results were there, and Carlo Ancelotti. They're two very experienced managers. Carlo Ancelotti is one of the greatest managers in the world. They're the only two that really got much of a tune out of this squad. I don't think that's a coincidence. They are experienced in the game. One of them is one of the greatest managers to ever live. Your third club in charge, it was always going to be tough. And he didn't pull up trees at Derby, and he didn't pull up trees at Chelsea. This was always going to be tough. So yeah, that's my thoughts on him. I'm sure people will disagree because he's quite well loved in the fan base. And I don't dislike the fella. I just don't think he was ever good enough for the job. And he was well out of his depth. It's like throwing a 5-year-old in the deep end. It was too much too soon. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Lampard's sacking. Now we have the headline that Farhad Majiri has held talks with Marcelo Bielsa over succeeding Frank Lampard. Majiri is believed to be in favour of appointing Bielsa. That's come from David Ornstein. The Mail Sport then said Everton is seriously considering appointing Bielsa as the next Everton manager. Bielsa is Everton's #1 choice. The Mail Sport went on to say Bielsa's high tempo football style is seen as a way forward in the relegation battle that has turned toxic for the club. Bielsa will demand support in the transfer market and new recruits. Good luck to him because he's probably not going to get that. Yeah, so we'll touch a little bit more later on about Bielsa, but we did do a poll on the Toffee Blues saying Marcel Bielsa at Everton, leave us your thoughts. So far, quite a lot of you have voted. Just because it's this merry-go-round again. 2,612 of you voted. 52.5% are saying yeah, I'd take him at Everton. 23.1% are saying I don't know, and 24.4%, including myself, are saying no. I say no because I don't think we're suited for Bielsa ball. I don't think this high tempo football is what we need. I think if we were open during with Frank Lampard, imagine how open we're going to be with Bielsa ball. We don't have the players for it. They're going to get injured. They're going to get hurt. He is a loose cannon in himself. It just seems like appointing him seems like to me not giving up, but it seems like adding another lunatic to the circus, to the asylum, because he is absolutely off the chart crazy at times, and he has been known to just walk out if he doesn't like what he sees. I think he did it at Lille. Leeds was his longest ever job. I just think we needed a steady. He is experienced, but we needed a steady ship. And Bielsa's not steady. Bielsa is Bielsa. He is an enigma. He is a character. He is off his rocker. I don't think he will. I don't think he's really the right guy. But Farhad Majiri absolutely loves a big name. It's this weird fetish he has with having big names run the club, despite the fact they might not work or that they don't suit the squad. As long as they're a big name in football, he does not care, which is quite irritating. Moving on, though, we have former Southampton manager Ralph Hasenhüttl and Sean Dyche could be among candidates to take over from Frank Lampard. Everton could consider a temporary manager appointment till the end of the season. That's come via The Guardian, and more specifically, The Guardian, it's come from the journalist Andy Hunter. Moving on from that quickly before I give you my, I don't think we are going to appoint a temporary. Reports have sort of said since then Everton want to get this really quickly done. But moving on from that, Matt Law from the Daily Telegraph put Everton are not thought to be keen on appointing a firefighter like Sam Allardyce or Sean Dyche, unless Marcelo Bielsa or others turn down the job. Again, we did some polls on the Toffee Blues. We'll do Bielsa and Dyche. Hasenhüttl and Dyche. So for Ralph Hasenhüttl, 4,652 of you voted. 11% said yes. 15.8% said I don't know. And 72.5%, including myself, said no. I just don't think Ralph Hasenhüttl is the man to save us. I think he will bring us down. Sean Dyche, 1,498 of you have voted. 58.3% said yeah, including myself. 20.4% said I don't know, and 31.3% said no. I think we need a level-headed guy who's going to tighten us up and make us hard to beat and make us aggressive, and that's him. Problem is with Dyche is that he's got this feeling that he's just going to be Sam Allardyce 2.0, and as much as our fan base don't realise it, because the biggest problem for me is that the fans, everyone I've seen is like, let's get Marcelo Gallardo, let's get Vincent Kompany, let's get Ange Postecoglou, and they all play the same or similar brand of football. It's passing move, and our fans, you might be sitting there going, yeah, that's what I want, but is that what you want? Because when we saw Duncan Ferguson take charge for those 3 games, everyone loved the tenacious, the aggressive 4-4-2, win the ball back, get it down the wings. They loved that. What we saw the other day when Frank Lampard's team was passing it round the back, waiting for an opening, was unrest, and fans began getting unrested and mumbles. So that comes with the style of play that people are shouting for. They will play it patiently and wait for openings, and it might seem like a day old, a year's gone by, but that's what they do to create openings. It's not fast ticky time 1, 2, 3 every time. You've got to wait and bring them in and pass it round the back. And if you're sat there going, oh yeah, I really don't want to see that, because then stop suggesting the names that do. But yeah, that's just, I think the problem is a lot of fans love the idea of somebody, but they wouldn't love them. And you've got to have the squad to suit them. And this squad, I don't think is capable of playing quick 1-2s, tiki-taka, firing it into each other's feet. I think we'd see us get turned upside down and inside out. It's not as easy as just going, I like the idea of Gallardo, let's have him at Everton. I like Gallardo, I think he's fantastic. Don't think he works at Everton, which is why I'm not shouting for him. I'd love him to, and I'd love us to have the squad to accommodate him, but I don't think we do. Otherwise, I'd be his biggest fan. This is a fella I am a fan of, but I don't think it's going to happen. Everton are big admirers of Brentford manager Thomas Frank, but there are doubts he would leave Brentford to become the new Everton manager. That's come from Sky Sports. Again, we did a poll with Thomas Frank, saying, would you take Thomas Frank at Everton? 2,593 of you voted. 86.1% said yeah. 7.1% said I don't know. 6.8% said no. He wouldn't come. I don't think he leaves Brentford for us. But this just highlights the point I've just made about what the fans want, because at times his team look a bit they are defensively solid, but they're very direct. They're not Ange Postoglou's style of play, and they're not Gallardo's style of play. But fans ultimately want Thomas Frank, but they also want Postoglu. You see what I mean? Like they're different. So who do you really want? I don't think us as a fan base really haven't. I don't think us all aboard have a real idea of who we really want. I think we like the idea of people, hence Managerial Bielsa. I think he likes the idea of Bielsa, but I think Bielsa leaves us wide open. We also have from Neil Jones, who is a journalist for Goal. The Everton made contact with Wayne Rooney on Sunday about replacing Lampard, but Rooney is not convinced on taking the job. Take that with a pinch of salt, because Neil Jones is the Liverpool Football Club correspondent for Goal. I mean, if Wayne Rooney's thinking about not taking it, that says it all, doesn't it? Wayne Rooney might not want this job. I don't think we should go with Rooney either. I think if you were going to go with Rooney, you should have stuck with Lampard. They've both got the same novice experience. You might as well have stuck with Frank Lampard. We did run a poll, 826 you voted on this. 11% said yeah, 9.2% said I don't know, 79.8%, including myself, said no Wayne Rooney. I just think you might as well have stuck with Frank Lampard, both inexperienced managers that we don't know enough about, really. We don't really know if their style would suit Everton. So yeah, I can't say I've watched a lot of DC United, but I think he's too young into his career. Wayne Rooney doesn't need to take this now either. If he ends up doing well, I think he'll need to get a job back in England first. But if he does well, the Everton job will become available again in his career as a manager. He will always be linked with it till he's had it. So he doesn't need to chomp at this. It's not like he's never going to get it again. If he does well enough, and he's at that point where he needs a Premier League club, if we're there still, he'll get that offer again. He doesn't need to jump at this. It won't be the first or last time you hear of him linked to the club. Justin, this is also Justin from David Ornstein. Duncan Ferguson is also in the thinking of becoming the next Everton manager. Managerial is talking to a number of candidates. So nothing's really confirmed. I mean, take everything with a pinch of salt, because as much as it looks like it might be Bielsa, the journalists, I don't think, know fully, because I don't think the board know in themselves. We did ask, would you take Duncan Ferguson as the Everton manager? 627 of you voted. 17.4% said yeah. 13.9% said I don't know. And 68.7% said no. Again, same with Wayne Rooney and Frank Lampard. Inexperienced, not got enough about him in terms of managerial experience. I think you can't. The criteria to getting the job shouldn't be they know the city, shouldn't be they're a nice guy, shouldn't be they love Everton, shouldn't be their kids wear Everton pajamas. That's not the criteria that somebody should be managing a football club, because I know someone who's a nice guy. I know a separate person who supports Everton. I know a separate person whose kids wear Everton pajamas. I know somebody else. What was the other point I made? I forgot now. You could make an argument that everyone knows one of those people, because that's what fans are. Fans love Everton. Fans wear the pajamas. that doesn't mean we should be managing. You know, I wouldn't trust any of them to feed my dog, never mind to manage a football club. And that's the same here. You just because they have an affiliation with the club, you can't give them the managerial job off that alone. There needs to be more of a criteria for that. Um, so yeah, I'm not surprised Duncan Ferguson's very low there. That is all we've got for managers stuff. So let me know down below your thoughts on the managers as well. We also have from Matt Law that Chelsea have shown an interest in Anthony Gordon and Amado Onana. Chelsea have considered a deal involving sending Anthony Gordon back to Everton on loan. Chelsea, Arsenal, and Newcastle United all have expressed an interest in Amado Onana. This has come from Sacha Tarvaleri. I'm not surprised. He's a really good young player. I mean, he's only been here 6 months, so Everton would ask for a lot of money if we do try and sell him. Sacha is quite reliable, though. I'm pretty sure he broke when we signed Onana. Everton will be asking for big money, though, for him because we've only just bought him and we see the potential. This is the problem, isn't it? We're already looking like we might lose one of our bright players because, and he's one of the ones where I think we've got it right transfer-wise, but because the rest of the club is just badly run, we might lose out now, which is a real shame because that is one signing that is the right signing. It's frustrating. We also have finally that Everton rejected a bid from Saudi Arabia club Al Nassr for Asmir Begovic. Al Nassr are expected to make a second bid in the coming days. That's from Sky Sports. I think that's the one that Cristiano Ronaldo's gone to. I'd sell Begovic, especially if they're offering money, because he's the type that if we don't, he definitely goes for free at some point. But yeah, and we've got a lot of goalkeepers at the club. I'd rather bring one of the young lads as one of the proteges. But yeah, so interesting there. That's all we got time for, though. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and comment down below your thoughts on the managerial stuff. Who do you want? I mean, don't get me wrong. If you do want Gallardo, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. My opinion is that unfortunately, as much as I like him, it wouldn't work at Everton. And also, I truly believe that Everton fans love aggressive, in your face, direct football. We love snidey players. We boo former Liverpool players still. We boo former players of us sometimes as well. Everyone really wants, if most Everton fans will say Diego Simeone is their dream because he's snidey, he's defensively sound, he's aggressive, he's direct. And I think Sean Dyche is about as close as you're going to get to that plethora. But I do get that people might not, have the idea that he might play boring football and they want to see someone like Gallardo. But I mean, how many River Plate games do you watch? He manages the top club in an Argentinian league and he's going to come to one of the bottom clubs. I don't think it translates very well. Might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong with whoever we pick. It looks like it might be Bielsa, and I hope I'm wrong with my opinion on him. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Like I said, I look forward to reading them. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. You're not wrong. I just, my opinion is different. But I look forward to reading them anyway, and I'll see you guys very soon.